Anderson County Commission Budget Committee meeting for Thursday, March 9, 2023, 4 o'clock p.m. Robbie, if you would call the roll, please.
Commissioner Foster. Here. Commissioner Daniel.
Here.
Commissioner Val.
Here.
Commissioner White. Absent. Commissioner Denberg.
Here.
Commissioner Bochamp. And Commissioner Smallridge. Here. And Commissioner Wandell. We have 3 absent.
If you would, commissioners, keep the Wandell family in your prayers. They have had a death in the family. Keep the Beauchamp family in your prayers. They have one that's sick. And I think Commissioner White probably will appear here before too long. If you would, join me in prayer, and we'll ask Commissioner Vandegrift to lead us in the pledge. Heavenly Father, we thank you, Lord, for everything that you do for us every day, your many blessings, salvation, your spirit, your leadership, Lord, your guidance that you always offer, even though we don't always take it. Please forgive us of our sins, the times we don't take it. Lord, guide us in a way that you would have us to go today. Give us your wisdom, give us your discernment, Father, to make motions and vote in a way that would be pleasing to you, to represent your people. And Lord, always make us accountable first to you and ourselves for the decisions we make. All this we ask in Jesus' holy name. Amen.
Attention, salute, pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Commissioners. Moving on with the agenda, we have the cash and fund balance report. Director Holbrook.
Yes, sir. Restricted funds, $1,098,010. Committed funds for the general fund, $1.6 million. Assigned funds are $3.7 million, and unassigned fund balance $9.2 million, for a total fund balance of $15,761,737. Cash at $20,793,264. And yes, that is we discovered. Shane asked the question earlier when we meet always for budget. Is this the highest ever for us in cash? And it is at the end of the month, $20,000. So last year was $19,370, and this year $27,932,64.
To re-emphasize that, Commissioners, that last column is what Director Holbrook is talking about, where it says cash, 101 general fund, it says $20,793,264. That is the highest that column has ever been.
And the reason for that is February is tax collections are due at the end of February. The schools are always the highest this month, and the general fund usually is too. It's the highest month. It's always the end of February. So. Property tax collections.
Mm-hmm. Any questions on the cash and fund balance report? Hearing none, moving on. Go ahead, Rob.
Okay, sales tax report, just really quickly. 0% change for the county as a whole. I think we made $1,000 more this year than we did last year this time. The county was down 6%, but 577, 363, 93 is still a good number for sales tax collections for January. So,
any questions on the sales tax report? Hearing none, moving on. Go ahead, Rob.
okay. The consent agenda transfers not requiring full commission approval. There are 18 of them. I'd be happy to take them as a group, answer any questions, pull any out if you'd like, but 1 through 18. I said 19 on the agenda. Number 19 is actually appropriation, and I made a mistake on that. It's a school appropriation. So it's 1 through 18 on the transfers.
Motion to approve.
Commissioner Foster moves to approve items number 1 through 18 as a group. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Denenberg. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
Okay. Numbers 19 through 21 are from the school department. 3 appropriations, 2 appropriations, and 1 transfer for payroll.
Do we have a motion?
Move for approval.
Commissioner Smallridge moves to approve items
19, 20,
19, 20, and 21. Dr. Smallridge?
Yes.
And Commissioner Foster, you second that as a group? Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carried.
Okay, we have 4 appropriations from the Highway Department. 2 are insurance recovery for guardrail issues, and the other 2 are appropriations from fund balance, $100,000 for fuel and $500,000 for asphalt.
Commissioner Foster moves to approve items number 22 through 25 as a group. Second by Commissioner Vandegrift. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carried.
Okay, 26 through 28 are from the county clerk. All 3 are increasing revenue, and one is data processing equipment for $3,500, and the other is office supplies $1,200, and then there's postage for an increase of, sorry, I gotta get to that one, $30,000. And the county clerk produces revenue from postage from the state when they, as you all know, everybody got a new tag this year, so we've been mailing out license plates instead of decals, so that cost us more money, so that's why postage is up next year. Well, starting in June, is it?
It'll go, it should go back to normal at the end of June, because we're still doing, some mail-ins and latecomers and stuff like that, but that's why it's been so wild the last year and a half. But like Robbie said, we've got a restricted, you know, the customers pay for that. That's nothing that comes out of the undesignated or anything like that. That's in a restricted code that we collect every month, and we turn it over, and then Robbie just kind of lots it back to me.
Commissioner Denenberg moves to approve items 26 through 28 as a group. We have a second. Second by Commissioner Foster. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carried.
Okay, number 29 is from the clerk and master's office. It's for $2,589.91 out of the restricted for data processing code for a new server that IT has recommended that they purchase.
Commissioner Denenberg moves to approve item number 29. Second by Commissioner Foster. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carried.
Okay, number 30 is from the Animal Control, Care and Control from Mayor Frank, and it's increasing donations, $850 for other contracted services. These donations were designated to be for animal care, and that's where we put animal care for in $399.
Commissioner Denenberg moves to approve item number 30. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Smallridge. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carried.
Okay, from 31 is from the county commission. If you notice, I've marked out 13,812 and put 14,000 in. Annette called me this week and said we had $183 of shipping costs that we need to add to this purchase.
How much?
It's for $183 more dollars. So we're increasing this budget amendment to 14,000. It's for two new TVs, three new TVs in this room and additional Wi-Fi, which will help with crowds like we had last county commission meeting, possibly.
And can I make a motion that we take this out of ARPA funds, or do I need to make that an amendment? Or I know I've done that, we asked to do it before, taking it out of there.
Yeah, it says take it from the unassigned fund balance, so it would,
We can do it out of ARPA.
yeah, you want to go ahead and
not an
make the motion, we take it out of the ARP funds.
I'd like to make that motion. We don't have a problem with that.
Commissioner Foster moves to approve item number 31 with the cost coming from the ARP funds. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Denenberg. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carried.
Okay. Number 32 is from the juvenile, Tracy Spitzer. It's from unassigned fund balance, $30,000, increasing juvenile court contracts with other agencies. These are for juvenile detention detainment. It's from a judge's order. We have to pay these bills, and unfortunately, some of these juveniles stay very long time. It's $120 a day, and we usually have 40 to 50 a year. So last year we only paid $44,855. The year before that we paid $77,000. So it kind of fluctuates. We're having a bad year. So
Move for approval?
Commissioner Smallridge moves to approve item number 32. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Denenberg. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
okay, 33 through 36. There are 4 of them. They're all from the library board. $400 for additional supplies from the Clinton Library fund balance. 34 is $13,490.60 for medical insurance, addition to their medical insurance for Rocky Top. $2140 for Rocky Top for communications, and the last one is for $3,570. So transfer with payroll between part-time and full-time codes for Rocky Top and Norris. And I could answer questions on these if you have any.
So Norris, we're increasing the full-time and then decreasing
Yes.
part-time, and then Rocky Top's about ours, okay. Just wanna make sure I read that right.
Exact opposite, yes. Both of those have had changes, kind of late last year in the budget season. I mean, I was telling Commissioner Vandergrift, because she emailed me about this, part of the problem with sometimes passing a budget early is we don't get changes that happen late in the year. We've already approved these budgets. And then the library's made some changes on their board where they don't have the same treasurer. Their board is ruled to have to change every so many years. So they have a new treasurer. They're not familiar with some of these changes, so I actually got with them and asked them to make these changes, so.
Motion approved.
Commissioner Foster moves to approve items number 33 through 36. Seconded by Commissioner Denenberg. Any discussion? I will say this, as everyone well knows, the library board and the libraries are in discussions right now, as far as some related books, materials that are in there. These requests obviously have nothing to do with that, but during the course of studying that particular issue, some questions have come up that we are currently seeking answers to. One of them involves the libraries being under a maintenance of effort restriction. Our finance department is currently trying to find the answers to what can or cannot be cut, if anything, out of an approved budget from the previous year, depending on maintenance of effort. Dealing with the sheriff's office budget some, I know maintenance of effort does apply to certain areas, don't think it applies to all. We are currently in the process of finding out how that applies to libraries. So hopefully we will have those answers soon, and find out what can, if anything, be cut from any budget. They do have a specific code in their budget that does relate to books.
Yes.
These obviously don't have anything to do with those codes. These are for other issues. But just to be total transparent and bring the budget committee up to speed on that particular issue, maintenance of effort apparently does apply to libraries, so we'll have to see exactly how much. Just want to throw that out there so everybody know where we were on that. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
Okay, and the last budget amendment we have is from animal care and control again, from Mayor Frank. It's increasing animal food, gasoline, communications, and uniforms for a total of $6,550, and decreasing medical insurance and part-time help by the same amount.
I'm sorry, Robbie, can you give me an item number on that, please?
Item 37.
Commissioner Denenberg moves to approve item number 37. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Smallridge. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
Okay, thank you. And the sections, the first one's opioid settlement funds, the Mayor Frank. I sent you all a copy of our revenue code where we received $233,421.32. Today, we received an additional $425,159.28, so we have a total of $658,580.60 from opioid settlements currently, as of today. So we had a little update today. I just want to let y'all know about that. And I'm going to let Mayor Frank speak to this. So, here she
Mayor
is.
Frank,
And she
you have
handed out
floor.
some paperwork for this.
Yes,
also.
so I think at our last Budget Committee meeting, Commissioners on Budget Committee asked a little bit about these funds and how they're coming in, what we can expect over the coming years. And so I tried to boil the cabbage down and put together a little document for you because there's a lot going on with this. The easiest way to understand this is there are two categories of funds. One category is called subdivision funds, and that's because Anderson County, like all counties across the state of Tennessee, are considered political subdivisions of the state. And then the other category is abatement funds. These two funds, when we receive the money, we have to keep these separately because each have different reporting requirements and use limitations. So they all come from the same source. So for instance, the first, and they're calling them waves, the first waves of settlements were some pharmaceutical distributors and the manufacturer J&J, Johnson & Johnson, Janssen. So that first wave, there are these national settlements, which Tennessee signed on and Anderson County signed on to those settlements. So that was AmerisourceBergen, Cardinal Health, McKesson, and J&J. So there's this big pot of money. We get part of that money directly. So we get, and that's called those subdivision funds because they come directly to us as a political subdivision. Then from that same big pot of money will come abatement funds. And the abatement funds don't come directly to us. They go by legislation that's gone through the Tennessee General Assembly. They go to a Tennessee trust fund that is managed by the Tennessee Opioid Abatement Council. And from there, they will distribute another amount to us. So that's what I'm going to walk through with you in this packet, what we've received so far. If you'll go past the memo, you'll see the receipts. In that first page, you'll see $154,000, $40,000, and $38,000. These are the subdivision funds that we've received so far. And we've received years payment 1 and 2, so we'll receive generally these same amounts over the next 16 years. However, that first one, and so there's exceptions, and this is where it's all confusing, that first payment actually represents 5 payments, years 1 through 5 for Johnson & Johnson. And what can we use these funds on? So let's flip forward on some of these pages. You'll see I just put in an email there showing this was payment year 1 in one of those subdivision funds. Then we got an email, we're moving forward with payment 2, and I circled what that payment 2 amount was, and that lines up with the receipt in the finance director's office. And then that next page, you'll see payment 1, Janssen, payment year 1, payment year 2. That represents that big $154,000 that was in your receipt list from them. Then what I have on that next page, these are the subdivision funds, what we can use the money for. So really, just think of it, to me, I think of of the subdivision payment as damages. Now, we can use it for current expenditures, future expenditures, but just in my mind, that helps me remember it, is this can be for things that we've already done to address, I mean, for instance, the sheriff's department and EMS having naloxone and you know, they've run into an overdose. If we wanted, we could reimburse them for past years with this money. We could use it for things that we're doing now to address opioid addiction, whether that's responses or medications or some programming. We can use it for that, or we could apply it to future expenditures or programs that we want to start up. The next payment, you'll see if you flip in your packet, is the $425,000 payment. And we will get this over the next, you know, I do need to clarify something for you and make sure that this is just payment one and not a combination of payment 1 and 2. I don't really have that clarification yet. I need to follow up on that. But we should receive this for an additional, all of these are structured for 18-year payouts. So if this does represent only one payment, we will receive this for another 17 years, some amount thereabout. Again, here's another exception. With these funds, every 4 years, they're going to recalculate based on, these dollars come to us based on a formula, population, there's several factors, and then the impact of opioids in your community. So if you have a lot of overdoses, fatalities, a lot of measurable impacts, we receive more funds. And so if you look, you probably oftentimes will see Anderson County on a map. I know the Sheriff's Department talks about this a lot. You'll see us on a map with heavy overdose rates. We're receiving more money because they want us to be able to do more to mitigate. Now, you know, since we're saying we have a bad rate, I do want to point something out that I think is a benefit to our county. If you look at that, you think, what in the world is going on in Anderson County? You know, we have an issue that's far worse than the rest of the state. One thing to remember is we do have, it's the Knox-Anderson Regional Forensic Center. So we have better data on our overdoses, where a lot of counties do not. So it does, to me, it doesn't necessarily mean that we're the leader in the state for overdoses, but we absolutely know more because we are getting so many autopsies and so many toxicology reports. But that number can go down if we see improvement but that's going to be in every 4 year. They will reassess and our number may adjust. Where can we use these funds? And again, these are funds that are managed by the Tennessee Opioid Abatement Council. We can use these funds on any of the things that I put in your packet that is this next 16 pages of, from naloxone to prevention to medically assisted treatment. All kinds of things are on this particular list. So those are funds that we've received so far. Then last month at the full county commission meeting, you authorized me to execute a sign off on another second wave of agreements, and that will again be subdivision direct payments being made to Anderson County. And then there'll be another chunk of money that goes to that Opioid Abatement Council, and we'll get more funds from them. And that is going to be the wave of settlements that are they're for 2 manufacturers, Allergan and Teva, and then 3 pharmacy chains, CVS, Walgreens, and Walmart. So hopefully, I tried to help boil it down. I mean, there are pages and pages of documents, and I know Commissioner Smallridge and Commissioner Vandergrift were at Tennessee County Services, and you heard some of the presentations. It's a lot of information, but hopefully that gives you a little bit of idea of what you all have as commissioners to work with going forward. Any questions?
And you said,
Go ahead.
you said that, so on the 425, that could be payments 1 and 2.
Yes, that's one thing that didn't really hit me until I was standing up here, that I don't have confirmation because they didn't send a, I had to send a letter in, but they did not send me an email like those emails you'll see in there that say from Brown Greer. The national settlement folks will send, hey, here's what we're sending you and here's what it's for. I have not gotten that from the Tennessee Opioid Abatement Council. So I'll follow up and try to get that answer by full commission.
Any questions for the mayor on the opioid information? Commissioner Smalley?
Mayor, do we have any idea, and you may not have this number, but over those years, we talk 18 years, is it?
Yes.
Any idea of how much each year on the average?
Yes, so, and I thank you for pointing that out. I skipped over that. I did put that in your memo. How often will we receive the funds, and will they be the same each year? We will receive them annually, so whatever you see, that one exception is J&J, so we're not going to see another payment for them for a little while because they front-loaded payments 1 through 5. But all the other ones, so you see 40,000, 38,000, and they're going to fluctuate. It may go up to 42,000 or 45,000 and then come back down to 38,000. We're going to get that every year, that one amount for the distributors. I don't know yet what we're going to get from the Allergan and Walgreens and CVS. I don't know that amount. But then we will get that. If 425,000 is one payment, we'll be getting that annually over the next, 17 years. So you can count on that. And then the State Opioid Council is also going to do grants. So we can apply for other grants, whether we partner with other counties or municipalities, or if we have a project, we can apply for even further grants through that abatement council.
It seems like a really good, with this money coming in, really good opportunity to do something significant. Not that I don't mean that we haven't been,
Yeah.
but with this additional money, and will we be working on coming up with a plan kind of an overall plan? And I guess it can be a regional thing, or from what we heard.
I think that's a great idea, and it might be something where, maybe commission has a workshop and then maybe even contemplates. I know the cities, not all cities receive funds in some of the agreements because they set a population limit. But some, like City of Oak Ridge, is receiving direct amounts as well. But we might have a large countywide conversation, have law enforcement, DA, maybe some prevention folks. I think that would be very worthwhile to have a conversation about where we want to spend these dollars. What are our priorities? And we can also use it, if there are some areas where, you can protect your budget, like if you want to do things, like add a position in a department or give employee raises. You can use some of these funds to fill your budget or fill budget gaps where we're already doing things addressing opioids. So it could be a way that gives you more leeway in your general budget, where you might be coming up short somewhere. You can use these funds to plug it, and then that frees up more money. Yes, ma'am.
Are the amounts based on population?
Yeah, the subdivision funds are, but the abatement council take into account other factors, risk factors and overdose factors, other things about that are evidence of impact to your community.
Now, with the intended increase that Anderson County most likely will have, will that be adjusted?
Yes, so right now, the number we received, for instance, I was talking to one of the county mayors. It's about, there's 5 counties that I kind of look at that are very close to us in population. I spoke to one of their mayors. They're only receiving 200 and some thousand, and we're receiving 425,000, and his county's a little bit larger than ours. So that obviously is, shows you the effect of that heavier weight for having a lot of overdoses and community impact. So we're already receiving that additional money.
Any further questions for the mayor? All right. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Next item is ARPA project, section
Yes.
B.
Normally I put this in the front of the budget packet, but the mayor wanted to speak to maybe some ARPA recommendations. Currently, up to February 28th, 23, we spent $2,515,796. We've budgeted but not expended $6.7 million. Available in revenue loss is $3,489,807. Other eligibilities, all this is at the top of your page. $2.1 million for a total of $5.6 million. So, somebody in commission, I think it was mentioned that maybe it was time to get back to some
Yeah, I'd ask about that.
more recommendations, maybe for some projects, and I think the mayor has some information on that.
Mayor Frank?
Well, I don't have as much information as I hoped, so been burning the candle at both ends, and I'm a bit behind. What I thought I would ask today is, would you like me to put together, I know we don't have to officially program these dollars until the end of 2024, and then the money any projects need to be finished by December of 2026, but really we need them probably finished by October or November in order to close everything out and paperwork. Like for instance, a couple of ideas and things that might be countywide game changers. Before we brought to the workshop the idea of modernizing the radios for our first responder agencies, whether that's EMS, Sheriff's Department, the volunteer fire departments. And since that time, we've been able to whittle down some of those amounts. So Director Sweet just got word that the governor has put into his budget some radios to modernize their system. I asked Nathan to calculate the value of that. I think he said around $110,000. The Sheriff's Department has applied for a couple of grants. They were just awarded one that had 7 radios, and they've got another grant application in for 25, but then they need an additional 18. The ask for the volunteer departments would be pretty large if we wanted to give every volunteer one, but maybe we could do something like 6 or 8 or 10 or something like that for each department or hybrid department. I know we have some that, the city, for instance, might provide the equipment, but they operate on volunteers or partial volunteers. Other ideas are, I don't know, Robbie and I have not had a chance to really sit down and go over budget numbers. Usually we've collaborated a little bit more before now, but it's just been busy in both of our offices. But depending on, for instance, raises, what the county is able to do there, maybe you might want to entertain a second round of retention payments. Then there are some other projects that the county has looked at on and off again over time. And I'm happy to put together maybe another list of options for you in consultation with various departments and bring that back next month, and you can chew on it and maybe look at it over the next couple of months. That's just an offer.
Yeah, I mean, Chairman, I definitely would like to see either projects that we need to look at or a bonus, you know. I don't want us getting down the road when it gets to October of 2024.
Yeah.
We're going, oh, we've got this
Yes.
money sitting here and we haven't, and then we're just throwing it to wherever. And I do know that, you know, there might be something that we spend out of general fund, or that we're thinking about spending out of general fund, that we could just use this money, and then if we have extra revenue, that rolls back. You know, there is ways to move money around that it would roll back in our general fund to save us, you know, you don't have a deadline on using your general funds, but, so that's just some of my thoughts on
Absolutely.
it.
Good idea.
Spend money, right?
Well, I mean, I think if you look at the county's fund balance right now, you've really created a nice cushion for yourself in case things go downhill. And I know that we're looking at interest rates, probably another interest rate increase again. I think you as commission have done a good job there, and you've paid for things like patrol vehicles and ambulances and things that you normally pay out of the general fund or the rollover. And so you've put the dollars to good use. So.
Any further questions for the mayor on the ARPA project? Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Next item is the 23-24 budget.
Okay, so what I've put in your packets is the summary of proposed budgets. And basically this lists every department in the general fund and all the other funds that have submitted so far. What their original budget was for this year, what their amended budget was this year, which is the second column. And the third column is the proposed revenues and budget for the 23-24 budget, next year's budget, which we're starting to work on. And I've highlighted some in yellow that I know want to come to the budget hearings, around 9 to 10, 4 being the Sheriff's Department, EMS. We may even want to have, we've talked about a workshop possibly for EMS and the sheriffs. I'm not against that. I think it's a good idea to give them more time to express what they want and what their goals are. But the ones that aren't highlighted, I know you take a look at those and you say, well, there are some increases there. Well, CTAS has already presented their elected officials raises, the judges a 4% CPI raise. That's already figured in this budget. Benefit increases when we make hiring changes, staffing changes. Sometimes it was a single coverage. You come in and you hire someone that takes family, that can cause the budget to go up. Decisions, I was telling Shane today, and Commissioner Smallridge always asks this question, in budget amendments, anytime the answer at the bottom of the page, does this affect next year's budget, and that answer is yes, then that automatically is figured in next year's budget. That's approved. I consider that an approval by the Budget Committee and County Commission for going forward. So that's included, and there are some of those in there, but the ones that are in white are not, are considered to come in under the guidelines. And what I normally look for is a motion to approve those budgets as is, as presented. And we normally set those aside. Revenue is going to continue to increase a little. We're still adding property. I know my first property assessment was in February. I'll ask for another one before next meeting. Then each meeting they're going forward, I'll ask for more because they continue to add stuff up till June. So that will continue to increase a little bit. Not a whole lot, but some. But when you look at the bottom line, with a no increase budget, we have, looks like $347,000 to play with. That a surplus budget currently. But when you look at what they ask are, that's probably 1.5 million in the red. So we have some work to do. But anyway, what we're looking for today is a motion to approve the budgets that came in with the guy that, approved, did what the guidelines asked for. I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time spitting that out.
Robbie,
And,
can you go ahead and just verbally list those departments?
Yes, I
please?
can. So County Commission is the first one, Board of Equalization, the Parks Conservation Board, County Mayor's Office, Personnel, HR, Register of Deeds, Planning, Building, County Buildings, other General Administration, Preservation of Records, Finance and Purchasing, Property Assessor's Office, County Trustee's Office, the County Clerk's Office, the IT Department, Circuit Court, Criminal Court, General Sessions Judge, the Drug Court, which is a grant, the Chancery Court, Juvenile, Office of Public Defender, Judicial Commissioners, which is, we don't have any, that's not even a budget, the Probate Clerk, the Pretrial Office. They kind of optional whether they're gonna come to, vote to the hearings or not. Courtroom Security, Victims Assistance Program, Commissary, Civil Defense, Rescue Squad, County Coroner, other public safety, the Fleet Services, the Local Health Center, Rabies and Animal Control, Dental Health Program, other local health services, which is the DGA grant, and the appropriation to the state, there's no increase there. The Senior Citizens Assistance Program, Parks and Fair Boards, Agricultural Extension Service, the Soil Conservation, the Stormwater Management, and Veteran Services, and other charges, the 58,400. There's some of those are increases when we increase revenue, like property and sales tax. The main trustees commission line is there, and that also increases that budget automatically. So it's something we have to pay. It's a 1% of all those. And miscellaneous, which is communications bills, are paid there, and public utility is 99170. It's a grant. And that's the ones in the general fund. In the other funds, the library is a balanced budget. Solid waste is not ready yet. They're having a huge RFP for waste management, and so that will affect that budget. So we're going to wait. EMS, Nathan always presents 3 budgets, 1 balanced and 2 other budgets that are possibilities. So I always take them to the budget hearings. The drug control's in balance, Channel 95 is, tourism fund, and the highway fund are all in balance. So several budgets came in, followed the guidelines.
So what you're asking for today is a motion to approve those budgets that have
That's-
come in.
Normally the first step, and then we work on the other budgets. We see what kind of, the past we've always worked on the other budgets, come to compromise, agreement, whatever. We see where we're at as far as the surplus or deficit budget, what kind of revenue we have left over. We talk about usually the employment raises, as we get further into the budget. And if we don't have to have this motion today, if y'all would rather wait and look over this budget some more, this information more, we can do it on the 23rd.
Anybody want to take any action on it today? Hearing none. Moving on.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Commissioner Smallridge.
Yeah, Robbie, when you're looking at whether it meets the guidelines, are you looking at comparing it with the original budget?
Yes, the original budget,
Okay.
not the amended, the original.
That was my question.
Commissioner Foster.
Robert, you mentioned we're roughly 1.1 out if we look at the changes in the people that submitted. which I
Well,
know they're-
right now, we're like 1.5 million out in the sheriff's department alone, so.
Okay.
Yeah,
So let's say 2 million out,
Yeah.
right? So I guess my question too is, I know that there's raises included in their sheriff's budget.
Yes.
So I guess too, if we look at that, if there's other departments, and I understand why they submitted raises in there, because of the need for them, and I think there's needs in other departments also, and I'm just kind of wondering, what does that look like if we, and I don't know what their increase is, to kind of see how much we're out with, let's say 5% raises. Is that something we will get farther down?
I will bring that to you.
Yeah, I would like to see, because
I
I think.
usually do a chart, with 1%, 2%, 3,
Yeah.
4, 5,
Okay.
and, different options, even like dollar values and stuff too, so.
And the other thing I'd like to see too is I know the employees pay a share of their insurance costs. So like if that can be maybe we don't do raises, but we take more of that share off of them, you know, if we, I know that's adding more work to you, I'm sorry.
No, that's
but-
more, HR can provide those
Okay.
numbers.
More work to
I'll pass that on.
But, you know, she already walked out. But, you know, that's what I'm saying, like, you know, sometimes that's better for them because their take-home is more because they're not paying as much share. That's,
Well, one thing I'm really proud of, I think, for the Board of Trustees and our self-insurance fund is in really good shape. We haven't increased health insurance, and in fact, we've had decreases and better coverage in the last 3 to 4 years. So I know we used to give employees a 1 or 2% raise and then ask for a
right.
large increase for their health insurance. So I just took it right away. So we've done really well with making some decisions that have been made with health benefits. So and we are considering adding a new plan this year, a bronze plan, which is a high deductible, low cost, maybe even no cost to the employees for a single coverage, which, you know, a younger person might be interested in that, but that's about it. So.
Yeah, I've had, you know, this conversation that might be a benefit to the employee, depending on what we can do for raises and everything.
Sure.
So, thanks.
Commissioner Smallwood?
On capital projects, Robbie,
Yes.
I know you've got something in here on utility projects, but on normal
don't.
capital.
I haven't
projects,
included
you
capital
haven't-
projects.
you haven't
One
put-
thing with the ARP funds, we took care of EMS and sheriff vehicles for the next 2 years for both of those departments. I know they have some other needs. I will work with the emails that I received for capital, a 5-year plan, before the 23rd. I just haven't had time to get to all that yet.
Look at that, yeah.
Yes. It took quite a bit of time just to get to this point right here.
Commissioner Foster? Commissioner Denenberg?
I was gonna ask one question, Mark. On the capital plans, can that also be submitted to the mayor as she's looking, as we're putting together for the ARPA funds?
Yes.
You know, that way, okay, hey, there's other funds out there.
Typically, I don't get a lot of capital. We ask for those, but
Okay.
not a lot of departments other than the sheriff and EMS. I mean, we have some that do, but not a lot.
Okay.
Unless they have a specific need they know of, we don't get those requests. They come to commission as needed normally.
Any further questions on
Kind of
the,
get away from that and have more of a plan. That's what,
Well, when things tear up.
yeah, right.
any further questions on the 23-24 budget? Moving on, new business.
Okay, one budget amendment or new business for $8,022. It's a grant we received. A check today for $7,500, but the other $522 will be a reimbursable grant. So we're asking for $8,022 to be put in a equipment grant for the jail.
Motion approved. You're ready to.
Commissioner Foster moves to approve the item under new business for the jail training equipment grant, seconded by Commissioner Smallridge. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried. Any more new business?
I have one more thing. As a reminder, we do have another budget meeting scheduled on the 23rd at 4 o'clock. It's budget hearings. I will send out an agenda for that before the schedule of, how the meetings are. We usually schedule appointments for just an order and we don't give a whole lot of time, but I know that we might be here a couple of hours. So,
You said 4 o'clock.
and the budgets that we didn't approve today. I can send more information out on those budgets. I can even send you a line by line if you want that. I mean, I have that ready, so it's just up to you guys. This is a summary, but I can send the whole budget.
What date was that, March
Huh?
20?
I'd like.
Okay, I will send that to everybody then.
March
March
20
23rd, two
23rd.
Thursdays.
Any more new business? Any old business? Any business come before the committee? We are adjourned.